As you know, I've spent a lot of time with Dr. Karp. We can get into him as a person, we can get into the company, but what was it you were trying to do with this profile in the magazine? It's a fascinating read.
Right. So, as you said, this has been a long-time goal of Karp's and the company's to join the S&P. And what's interesting is the huge split between the way traditional Wall Street investors, institutional investors approach the company, and the retail investors, who he calls tendies, who have created this massive following for Palantir and all things Karp, including Reddit's calling him Dr., Daddy Karp and the like. And this kind of irreverence that he has carried through, and he promised he would when he went public, and he's carried it through to today.
The best bit is if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of your story, and the link, the YouTube link that just shows us Dr. Karp talking to his loyal investors in the retail community about being admitted to the S&P 500. Let's just watch a little bit that into light, Lizette. Run the tape.
They do not comprehend how we could have turned a switch and gone to GAAP profitability and gone from what adults, professional managers, and some analysts thought was a Frankenstein monster powered by a freak show leader, me, to a dynamic, clearly profitable company worthy of and admitted to the S&P 500.
I'm hoping we'll be able to see him powering his way through the woodlands with those polls, Lizette. But that speaks a lot to his desire to work against, in many ways, Wall Street, but now he's having to appease them at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. And it's interesting because a number of retail investors do back him for the same reason that institutional investors are not backing him at the same, pace and fury. And it really breaks down to two things. Number one is tech. And number two is leadership. Now, on the tech side, a number of institutional investors simply don't believe the Palantir's claims that its AI sales are going to hit the traction that they say that they're going to, both on the commercial side and also in the government. We got to remember that Palantir, for the first time this year, is going to be making more money from its commercial customers than it has in its government ones. Now, on the personality side, there are some institutional investors, some analysts that simply don't like the irreverence that Alex Karp brings to the table, and have also questioned his management style and some of his judgment calls, including the ill-fated SPAC venture that they launched about 2 years ago. And some analysts say that they still haven't completely taken their lumps on, even though they have, reconciled it on a financial basis.
Team in New York, let's just play it again. Alex Karp walking through the woods, because it is him. It is absolutely him. He's unusual. He doesn't behave like a typical S&P 500 CEO. He's very outdoorsy. He has moved himself and the company to a certain extent away from California to Colorado. But he still delivers. He's combative. Just explain more to me about him as a leader, as a person, and why we care, why we've written a Businessweek piece.
Right. The interesting thing about, well, there's so many things that's interesting about Dr. Karp, or Alex Karp, but one of the big ones that really is important to focus on is the fact that he, along with his two co-founders of Palantir, Stephen Cohen and Peter Thiel, have structured the ownership of this company so that they have super voting rights and perpetuity. They did this when they structured the company to go public, and when the S&P relaxed the standards, allowing for multi-structure shares to be accepted, Palantir was admitted to the S&P with that. So we do care about him because he will continue to control it.